I can play that. What happened was the original time when I met this thing in the woods, that is not, repeat not, when this recording was made. This recording was made in my garage on the 3.5 days after I brought this thing home wrapped up, and I had unwrapped it several times, examining it in detail, being as close to it as I am to you, and thinking it was dead, absolutely dead. Touching the wound, seeing the blood, it was a dead piece of meat, and I had thrown it back in the freezer several times. On the third day, I went to the garage to put some things away, and I heard a noise coming from inside the freezer. And I thought it was rats. I thought the compressor was going out. I wasn't sure. But without thinking, I just thought, well, I'll just look inside and check the temperature. Well, I opened the door, and this thing sat up and screamed at me. A deafening scream that made me feel like something was pushing against my chest. Later on, this thing did this over and over until finally it didn't do it anymore. I don't know if it became accustomed to the weird look on my face or what, but it didn't do it anymore. But one of the times I recorded that sound, and that's the sound I played on Art Bell, and that's the sound I have here, and I will attempt to play it.
You want this one? He gets real loud.
That's the sound that it made.
In the book, Jonathan talks about how Gary just about blended with the gyprock on the wall when he heard that sound.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I came up because I promised Robert I would, and I've got a few comments. Number one, thank you so much for writing your book, for bringing this out, and I have a very selfish reason for you to continue this, because I'm going to give this to people, the people who I've had experiences, and the people who get that glassy-eyed stare when you're telling them about it. And if they think this is a fraud, then I challenge anyone to put something like this together. You know, all the people out there who say, oh, well, he's not doing anything, he's out for money. And that's another thing you're to be commended about. If you guys are out for money, you could have made tons by now.
You're right. Along with Dick Clark and Bob Kvyat.
I have one thing to say in regard to money, and it's in the book, and I've said it before. Somebody offered me over $1 million for my tape. A collector. And I thought about it real hard. And I decided not to do it, because if I did it, maybe no one would ever see this again. And I can't allow that to happen.
I thank you.
Thank you.
I got one more point to make, too. The things that have been done to you and others. This field. People who have seen stuff and experienced stuff and had it's horrendous for any government, but for our government, this is all done in our name also.
That's right.
And for this government
now
to
you know
do
where some
this,
of your tax dollars go.
Yeah, for this government to do this is unconscionable.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi there. I'm Russell Callaghan from UFO magazine back in the UK.
Welcome.
Thanks. I needed to come and just say one or two words here. I've heard some heavy emotion from both yourselves and within the audience. But, well, here goes. I'm 20 years a TV professional. And the camcorder footage we see at the beginning, where we're running through the woods to film the creature, Hyperventilating, very much out of breath. I've picked a camera up and run 20 yards, and I can't stand still to hold the camera for a good 10-15 seconds. You need to catch your breath. Now, we saw some very still shots, and we do have doctors in the audience and doctors speaking, and if there's anybody there, please back me up. The thing you do when you go out of breath is you take a dip. And you were really out of breath, and for me, you'd be down there trying to catch your breath. But you did very well to keep the camera steady. Commend you, if that's the case. But the other thing is, if I turn this microphone that way, you're struggling to hear me now. Yeah, can't hear a thing? Well, the microphone on a camcorder is at the front of the camcorder. And generally speaking, when you've got the camcorder in your hand, that microphone is facing somewhere out there. But we heard the breathing, the words and everything very, very clearly. Did you have a microphone on?
Hold it. Let's not get this out of control here.
Let me answer that.
Okay, please do.
The microphone on this Nikon 8mm video camera is a unidirectional microphone sticking out of the top.
Sure.
The viewfinder is on the top.
Okay.
The problem here is that
These questions have to be asked, my friend, because other
fine.
people will ask them.
I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you.
Next question.
Next question,
Okay.
please.
I'm afraid I agree, Dr. Reed. I have no desire to offend, only to enlighten all of us. Technologically, I've spent 15 years in the television business, and I wanted to ask you, were you using the Steadicam? I do not ask this because I disbelieve or believe. I ask this because we need to know exactly what type of camera it was, what kind of film, and what the conditions were.
Nikon straight 8, about 7 years old now. Standard Nikon video camera, older model, no Steadicam. And if you think that's steady, I'd hate to see, what
Yeah,
wasn't.
that's ridiculous.
The other
that's a
camera,
reasonable question, sir.
the other camera that I had was a 35mm Nikon camera.
Okay, fine.
Standard film, some slide film, some print film.
Thank you.
I shot everything I had.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Yes?
As some of you know, I do reverse speech. And this was one of the more interesting reverse speech things that I've ever done.
What was your name, sir?
I'm sorry, I'm Larry Duffy.
Thank you.
And when you came out on Art Bell the first time and I heard you, of course I recorded it. And I basically believed everything you said. It sounded good. But I had to reverse it to find out. And I have spent more time reversing you and Robert than I have anybody else. Many, many, many hours. And I've got to tell you, you guys are telling the truth. Right. And when my mentor...
Thank you.
And when my mentor, Mr. Oates, came on the internet and said that you guys weren't, he ceased to be my mentor because that was total BS. Because I know the work, and I know that was slop job. That was terrible of him doing that. That he obviously did not listen to your tape and reversed the whole thing. So, and I would like to know a little bit more about this alliance. So you kind of glazed over that.
We can talk about that some other time.
Okay.
Yeah, there's still a lot of information.
Just a group of people who are organized to help some specific contactees.
For their own gain, though, really.
Yes, sir.
For their own purpose.
Okay, Dr. Reed, maybe I missed it in your presentation or you didn't have a chance to tell us, but what actually happened to the alien itself? If it was a corpse, did someone take it away or did it run away?
On the 9th day, when I drove past my house, I saw all these vans emptying my house. I went back hours later and found my house ripped apart. I went out to the garage in my house, and they had, not only had they taken the body, which at the time was alive, but they had taken the entire freezer out of my garage by removing the door frame from the wall.
Yeah, okay, I sort of get that. This happened 9 days after they took the...
From the day that I brought it home.
Right. But you said 3 days afterwards that you saw the things screaming at you from the fridge. I want to know what happened after that point, basically, if you remember.
At that point, the question is what happened to Freddie after he was reanimated.
Right.
Well, from time to time, after trying to regain a little composure,